Hello and welcome back to another episode of Brandon Cyber. So, we just finished up another pathway. We're going to press on, and this time we're going to be learning and getting introduction to cybersecurity. I know we've already talked a lot already about some basic IT like networking and OSI model and just window fundamentals, understanding kind of how we would use these tools and what they are and everything like that nature. So we're going to go and jump on in. So last episode I mentioned we were looking at this introduction to cybersecurity. I know we're kind of taking deviation from that pathway we started at the very beginning, but I think that all this at the end is going to help us get a good foundation and understanding of what it is to be in cybersecurity and some of the tools and concepts, right? So, we've already done these intros here in the last episode, and then here we're going to step into web application security. So, every one of us use a different program on our computers. So, generally speaking, programs run on our computers using our computer's processing power and storage. So, to use a program, we need to install it first. But what if we can use any program without installation? A web application is like a program that we can use without installing as long as we have a modern standard web browser. So, Firefox, Safari, or Chrome. Consequently, instead of installing every program you need, you only need to browse the related page. The following are some examples of those. So we have webmail such as to Tonoda, ProtonMail, Outlook, and Gmail. The online office suite like the Microsoft Office 365, Google Drive, their suite of tools, and Zoho Office. There's also online shopping such as Amazon, AliExpress, Etsy. The list can go on and on, right? So, other examples may include things like online banking, money transfers, weather forecasts, social media, etc. So, the idea of web application is that a program running on a remote server, the server is going to refer to a computer system running continuously to serve this or the clients. In this case, the server will run a specific type of program that can be accessed by web browsers. So if you consider something like an online shopping application, it's going to read the data about the products and the details from a database. The database uses to store the information in organized ways. And then this is going to be information about the products, the customers, invoices. This is responsible for many different functions, even including reading, searching, and writing to the database. So there might need to be more than one database. So maybe there's a products database, the customers, and the sales database. And then we can look at this image below and see how that works, right? So the user, they're enter in some type of search, like item search or like a name for a product, right? This is going to hit the online shopping web application. This is then going to forward that request over to the proper database, so the products database. It's then going to return the results from that query over to the web application and then forward it back to the user. And so again, if they've maybe said, I'm going to search for the customers or the sales, whatever it may be, right? It's going to forward that request to the proper entity. So, user perspective, they will only access and look at online shop where all the technical infrastructure is going to be hidden. So, how do you or what do you need to access a web application? Probably a browser, right? Your web browser. Um, but I just was reading this. So there's also things called bug bounty programs. This is a way for a company to offer a reward for anybody who happens to discover a security vulnerability in the company system. And so the main condition is that the found vulnerability is within the scope and the rules. And among others, there's many companies, so Google, Microsoft, and Facebook will have these programs. And these can earn you from a few $100s to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on severity and the weakness you discovered. So if you're interested in something like that, it's a good way to make some money and also get a good idea of kind of like how can I exploit some rules or not exploit some rules, exploit some commonly known services that maybe other people are not aware of. So some security risk, right? So this is kind of the layout how you work this. So first you log in, you search for a product, add to a shopping cart, specify your shipping address, and then you provide your payment to pay. But There's a common categories against this, right? So you're logging in. They can try to discover your password by using many words or using a password list, something like Hydra, right? Maybe they're doing an online brute force test and they happen to figure out that, oh, your password is 1234. Cool. Now I'm in. They can search for the product. Maybe they can breach the system by adding specific characters and codes to the search term. So maybe if you're searching for a certain product, then that was going to return data. It should not execute, or it should execute a program should not. So return data should not, or execute a program should not. And then when you're providing your payment details, right? Maybe they're having weak encryption, so your payment is going in the clear text. This would be a very big red flag because now anybody, everybody could see that, and now they have your information. So, identification authentication failures. This is refers to ability to identify user uniquely. So, something that these weaknesses would include would be an attacker to use a brute force, so try many passwords, use homemade tools, find valid logins. Allowing the user to choose a weak password. A weak password is easy to guess, so this means like maybe they don't have a certain policy in place where there's a restriction. Maybe it doesn't say like you need a one uppercase, a special character, a number, or a lowercase, things like that. Storing the user's passwords in plain text. Attacker managed to read the file containing the passwords. Well, we don't want them to be able to learn the stored password. Broken access control. So if we fail to apply the principal of least privilege, give user more access than they need, this means that maybe they can view the prices, maybe they could change them, right? And that's not a good thing. Be able to view or modify someone else's account. We don't want people to looking at other people's accounts and their shopping carts. Being able to browse that page that requires authentication as an unauthenticated user. So we cannot let anyone view the webmail before logging in. Injection, right? We're putting our code into the program and it's not actually sanitizing the input, and so now we can exploit that. And there's cryptographic failures, so maybe instead of using HTTP PS, it's using HTTP, so it's not a secure version. Maybe it's a weak algorithm, so say tracking becomes this algorithm is trivial to break. Using default weak keys to functions, so won't be challenging to break the encryption that use 1234 as a secret key. So you discovered that the login page allows an unlimited number of login attempts without trying to slow down the user or lock the account. What is the category of this risk? So I would say it's probably identification authentication. So identification and authentication failure. Yep. Notice the username, password sent in clear text, the encryption. This is the cryptographic failure. That's right. Cryptographic failure. All right, and we'll view the site here. So we're going to view this site that's vulnerable, uses insecure direct object references, so IDR. This falls under the category of broken access control. So this means maybe I get privileges I'm not allowed to have. So consider the case where a web server receives user play input to retrieve objects that there are numbers sequentially. So maybe the user has access to photo name 1003.jpg, but we might also guess there's a 1002 or 1004, and it should not give it to us, but depending on the way the system is set up, maybe we can, right? So let's see. So it says check the other users to discover which user account was used to make this change and revert them. After reverting the changes was a flag received. So let's go to just look at the website first. So we see there's some management here, some bike assemblies. There's also inventory here of some, looks like some tires and my activity, right? So my employee ID is 11. It says I'm warehouse supervisor. Well, what happens if I change my ID to 1? Now I'm the president. I can see that that's probably an issue, right? Let's see the 0. There is no 0. Okay. Okay, vice president, right? Going down the list. So no 4, no 5, no 6. Got a front desk employee, a database administrator. Whoa, does database administrators change a lot of inventory? Okay, so let's go and revert these. And there we go. That's the flag. So sweet. So we understand how that works, right? So let's see what else we can do. So let's close this out. Operating system security. So let's join the room real quick. So every day you use a smartphone or laptop or any type of computer, right? You're going to interact it indirectly with an operating system. So Windows, Mac OS, iOS, Android, Chrome, and Linux, right? But what is an operating system? So it says to define operating system, we visit one computer term, which is hardware. So this is going to define all the computer parts, your peripherals, what you can touch with your hand. Hardware includes the screen, the keyboard, the printer, the USB, flash memory, desktop board, and all of that, right? In particular, CPU, memory chips, your RAM. Although not shown in the image, the desktop board is usually connected to a storage device, so your HDD or your SSD, right? So this is how you're getting your storage. Desktop board is made part of the computer, and other pieces of the hardware from keyboard, mouse, screen, and printer connect to it. Some hardware components by themselves are useless if you want to run your favorite programs and applications, so we need operating system to control and drive them. So the software sits on top of the hardware, and the software is all your favorite things, your programs, your operating system, your hardware, maybe like your drivers, right, and getting them to work with the hardware. So yeah, operating system layers in between the hardware applications and programs you're running. Programs you use daily might include a web browser or messaging app. All programs and applications cannot run directly on the computer hardware, but they run on top of an operating system. This allows these programs to access hardware according to specific rules. So you can see this is the operating system market share worldwide. You see Android is king. So looks like Android, they're also kind of putting this with the Linux OS, because Linux is also very, very popular outside of the United States. Windows is second. This is mainly for the United States people. A lot of people in the United States have Windows, and then outside of that is Linux based, just because it's a free version. And then now you have your iOS for your Mac, and then etc. Unknowns and extra ones. So your smartphone might be running Android or iOS, but you have plenty of private data, so this might be your conversations, your photos, email client that you use, your password saved in your web browser, or even your notes, and your banking apps. So you can go on and on. If you don't want someone you don't trust up your phone go through your photos, you need a secure phone and its operating system. So there's plenty of information as well on your laptops and computers. So your confidential files related to your work in university, private personal files, your email programs, passwords, copy digital camera and smartphone photos. So again, get very long depending on the user and kind of the nature of your data that you're saving. So we follow this amazing triangle called the CIA triad. So this is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So this means confidentiality is we want to make sure that it gets to the intended person, right? I want to make sure that if I'm talking to Jan, that Jan gets my stuff, and making sure that she is the right person. It's not actually going to Bob or Joe, it's going to Jan only. Integrity is saying that when I'm going to Jan to give her this document, that no one ends up taking it midway and swapping it with a different file, right? This makes sure that the file that I'm actually sending to the person is actually the same file. Doesn't get tampered, doesn't get messed with. And then availability. If Jan is, on the moon and I'm on Earth, well, it's going to be a little difficult for me to get to her. But if I'm, 5 feet away, the availability is there. So this is like how I can actually get onto the resources, how I can get on the website, use the device, all of that fun stuff. So, which of the following is not an operating system? So I think it's Thunderbird. Thunderbird Pretty sure it's on Kali, right? Oh, I'm wrong. What is Thunderbird? I've heard of that before. Mozilla Thunderbird, free to open source email client. Okay. Common examples of OS security. So again, CIA. We also have some of the focuses, the weaknesses. So authentication, weak password, weak file permissions, and malicious programs. So authentication, weak passwords. Let's be real here, right? Everybody's probably put in 1234 as a password or something when they were younger, and so again, those are bad passwords. We can even see this list by the National Cybersecurity Center published a list of 100,000 most common passwords. Might want to check it out, see if you're on there. But this is all of the different passwords on there that, hey, that's not a good idea, right? You also have weak file permissions, right? That's whenever we were looking kind of a little bit whenever we're on the target of the sudo bits, right? Maybe should, everybody have root access for, you know, I don't know, chat.txt? Like, is that necessary? So you can see that, like, who actually needs what permissions? And then access to malicious programs. Well, can I, as a user, install a malicious program on my computer? Can I run it? That's probably not a good thing. So, which of the following is a strong password in your opinion? So, what I look for in passwords is length and predictability. So, I love you. No, it's kind of long, but again, it's just going up top row. Learn more. That one looks kind of good. It's a little different. And then 1, 2, all the way down, that's like a waterfall. So, to me, I want to say learn more. And examples of OS security. Okay, so it looks like it's an actual machine. Cool. So one typical attacker is going to seek to gain remote access to that system, right? So we can accomplish this by tricking the target into running a malicious file, changing username and password, and we're going to focus on this later. But after discovering a username, we're going to try to guess the password. We're going to try to escalate our privileges to be a system administrator, called root, as we know, or we can be administrator on the other accounts. This is actually kind of right and wrong at the same time. So the highest privilege for the Microsoft Windows system is your NT system authority, or I think it's like NT authority slash system is what it's actually called, but that's actually your highest. That's kind of almost equivalent of your root account. Having administrator access, yes, very, very important, but most of the time, if you can get to that NT authority system, you're in good hands. So we're going to try to hack into a Linux system. Assume that you never used a Linux system before. So again, they're going to explain starting it. Yep, we already know how to start the machine. On the type box, start the terminal by clicking the terminal icon in the image above, and you'll be writing all the commands you need on the terminal shown below. So it looks like they're going to cover the following Linux commands and explain the other tasks. So who am I? sh, ls, cat, history. We've already seen a lot of these already, but it's not going to hurt to go over again. I'm going to go ahead and copy the IP just because I know we're going to be using that. So let me go ahead and just throw it here because I don't want to forget it. So, hired to check the security of a certain company. We visit the office. We notice a sticky note with 2 words, Sammy and Dragon, on one of the screens. So let's see if Dragon is Sammy's password on the target machine. In the attack box, we'll try to log in by executing SSH Sammy and ask you to provide Sammy's password Dragon. Yes. Please know when you enter your password, you're not going to be able to see it. So, and this is it. So, looks like that's actually it. So let's go on ahead and do that. So, SSH Sammy. Oh, Sammy. Add that. Yep. And we'll do Dragon. Hello. Okay, there we go. So again, we can do who am I? Yep, history. We can see what maybe they ran on here on the system. Oh, look, there's a cat password. That looks pretty good, right? There's also looks like some drafts, some editing there, a catcountry.txt. We can do an ls, as we know. There's password.txt. Let's run that. We see Sammy Dragon, catcountry.txt, UK. We can, I don't know if draft.md is going to allow us to see anything. Okay. So there's icon, profile, all that fun stuff. You can see the cat file, yeah, running all that. Cat the draft. In their brief introduction, we cover history. So, point prints the command used by the user. We've learned about 2 other usernames you can access the machine. They are Johnny and Linda. We know that both these users have little regard for cybersecurity. We use several ways to guess a password for these 2 users. So here we list 2 approaches. If you're not logged in as Sammy, you can use shjohnny, manually try 1 password, then next see which password works for Johnny. If you are logged in as Sammy or any other user, you can do su tech Johnny, manually try 1 password after the next to see which password works for Johnny. So, based on top 7 password, let's try to find his password. Who or what is Johnny's password? So, let's go up here. So these top 7, right? So su Johnny 1 2 3 4. Okay. 1 2 3. Oh. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay. Looks like they did through 9. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Let's see what else we got. QWERTY password. Okay. So QWERTY. Okay. Password. We also got 1 1 1 1 1 1. So 6 ones. 1 1 1 1 1 1. So if we want to, there's another way, right? We could use Hydra too. Just not thinking about that. Maybe make it a little bit easier. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. You probably would have found it pretty quickly, actually. And then the other one is ABC 1 2 3. So ABC 1 2 3. Oh, so his password is ABC 1 2 3. Get hacked Johnny. So ABC 1 2 3. Once you're logged in, use history command. Check to see where they ran. Expect Johnny to mistakenly type the root password instead of command. So history. So look at they're doing some stuff with notes here, some coffee, some cheese. Look like they got some files here. Su root, and they put happy hack £ng. So let's see here. How could they maybe mistyped it? So maybe they didn't do a capital H at the first one. So happy hack ng. Okay, so didn't like that. Or if it's happy hack ng. So we do know it's happy hack ng. Oh, wait. It's just that? Okay, hold on. Su root. Hold on. It's saying happy hack ng. Happy hack ng. Okay. So if he mistyped it, then why did he give him error? I don't know. Maybe he did like a space or something after. Regardless, we are root now. So while logged in, use the command su root. Switch to root count. Display the contents of flag in the root directory. So ls. We got cd to root. Cat flag.txt. THM you got root. Sweet. And there we go. We got through it. So, moving on, go over to network security. See if there's any other VMs. Okay, we'll start this machine up and we'll go back. So, computer network, group of computers and devices connected with each other. This focuses, network security focuses on protecting security of these devices and links connected to connecting them. So, more precise terms, network security refers to devices, technology, processes to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of computer network and data on it. Say that 3 times fast. Network security consists of different hardware and solutions to achieve set security goals. So these refer to devices set up in the network to protect your network security. So the hardware, you literally can hold them. Hardware appliance might look something like the image below. So you have this giant server rack here. Maybe there's some firewalls in there, a database server, all kinds of stuff in there. But if it's all one thing, you're going to have maybe a firewall, an IDS, IPS, maybe a VPN concentrator. So firewall allows what we want in and out. IDS is going to say, hey, alert us on something, maybe this is sus. And then IPS is going to say, hey, I'm actually going to stop that thing that's sus. The VPN concentrator, this is going to allow us to connect in and out of maybe the environment here at work. So this is a way to ensure the network traffic cannot be read or altered by a third party and protects the confidentiality and integrity of the sent data. So, on the other hand, we have software security solutions. So you have antivirus. Maybe use something like Malwarebytes or even something like malware, or not malware, not using malware as your anti-virus. McAfee or McAfee, how you want to pronounce it. I always call it McAfee or McAfee, but you get the gist. Host firewall, unlike the firewall appliance, a hardware device, a host firewall is a program that ships as part of your system. So the most well-known one you're going to know about is Windows Defender Firewall. And then they also have Apple macOS, includes its own application firewall. So both of these are host firewalls. So what type of firewall is host, or is Windows Defender Firewall? It is a host firewall. So methodology, every operation requires some sort of planning to achieve success. If you're interested in photography, you cannot just grab a camera, head to the jungle unless you don't care about the outcome. So for a safe tour, you need to learn more about the animals you want to shoot with your camera. This includes the habits of animals dangerous to avoid, and the same would apply to military operation against a target or breaking into a target network. So there's a cyber kill chain. This is also another one for incident responders. Like in the last episode, I was mentioning about the pyramid of pain and all that fun stuff. The cyber kill chain. So this is recon, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, C2, and actions on objective. So recon. This is going to be me getting as much information as physically possible about my target. So this might be Nmap scans. This might be doing some OSINT, so open source intelligence. Anything and everything I can to try to get as much information as possible. Once I'm ready, I'm going to weaponization. So this is me figuring out what maybe payload I want to run on the target. So think about like Metasploit when we're doing search type exploit and we're trying to find maybe Eternal Blue for the Windows machine. So once I'm doing that, I'm going to choose to deliver it, right? So this could be me dropping a USB flash drive. Maybe I'm using email. Maybe I'm using Metasploit again, right? I'm choosing Metasploit as my delivery payload or my delivery method. Then exploitation. This is me actually exploiting the vulnerability that they have. So maybe it's the user's vulnerability, right? They grab the flash drive, they run it, or maybe they open the email, or in this case, maybe I'm running this exploit against a vulnerable service. After that, it's going to install the malware. We don't really see this much on the Metasploit, but it runs it, it sends the stager, installs it, throws the malware piece on there, and then after that, we should be able to have some sort of C2, right? So with us, is maybe that reverse shell back to allow us to do run commands. Maybe it's from the malware that they executed. Maybe it has it opens up a call out to an external server that's part of our C2, and then overall our actions, right? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to get passwords? Are we trying to just deny them service? Or what we're trying to do? That's a big thing. So, what step of cyber kill chain do we gather information? Recon. And then now it's actually time to apply this. So, first step is recon. So let's do a quick scan on this guy. So let's exit this, exit this, exit this. We'll clear all that. Let's run our scan. So we're gonna scan this network. Looks like there's 3 different ports here. So we got FTP server, SSH open, and HTTP. So okay. So looks like they're gonna start by looking at FTP. So personally, I like to go to the web page. I like to see what's on the pre-screen. But it's also, if you see something vulnerable like FTP, it's also well known. Hey, this is a well-known vulnerable service. Let's check it out. So there it is. So it looks like they're going to try to connect to it via FTP here. So FTP 10.10.219.129. Okay, the name, we're going to do anonymous. We can do anonymous logins with FTP. We can see who am I, right? Or maybe not. Depends on the commands that is actually allowed on the FTP server. So maybe ls. So we see there's some files here. So maybe we can, I don't know if I can do cat. No, okay. But regardless, you can do that. Oh, you can do get file name. So looks like get. So they wanted to get secret.txt. Probably a good one to get. You can probably get the other stuff as well. I wonder if I can do get star and get everything. No. Okay. Anyways, we got this super secret document here, and we got some password. So that's good news. So this is probably for your SSH session, right? So look at the files. We notice there's the text, EPUB, a shell. The first are extensions for text files and ebooks, while the shell, in case of the file, is a shell script. Usually contains a group of commands need to perform repetitively. So download this, exit it, and then they're looking at it and they saw the password. Then they went to log in as root. This one has full privileges, so they're going to type it and they're going to try the password that we used earlier. So 10, 10, 219, 129. Yes. And we're going to try A, B, C, 7, 8, 9, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. And voila, we're as root. So we can see we can do pwd, rat, ls, and cat the flags. So ls cat flag.txt and owned that FTP server. So before I get too far ahead of myself, let's go on ahead and start capturing all of these and pasting it into our answers. So also, because we are root, we have permissions to look at other users. So they're saying, let's look at the librarian user. Let's look at their flag there. And then after that, we're winning. So let's cd back to home, c a librarian. So let's go there and cat flag.txt there. And we compromise the librarian's account. And that's it. That's really about it. So very cool. Understanding about the offensive side of security. Now let's refresh this and we can see we've already completed that. Oh, it took me to cybersecurity 101. Haha. So it keeps doing that because I think I've enrolled into that path actually. So let's go back here. Yeah, I think this is what we're doing. Yeah, let me enroll into the path this time. So let's resume it and see if this is good. Sweet. So we done the first part, done the second part. Let's jump right into defensive security. And we're doing pretty good on time, so let's go ahead and just knock this out. So we'll join both these rooms. See if there's any things, practical examples. Okay, let me download these real quick and I'll upload them to the box. Okay, so I unzipped those just now and it was a ransom letter.zip. We got a letter image, a ransom letter, and another ransom letter. So we'll have to look at that in a bit. So digital forensics. So this is the application of science to investigate crimes and establish facts. So with the use of spread of digital systems, computers and smartphones, a new branch of forensics was born to investigate these related crimes, computer forensics, which evolved into digital forensics, right? So think about the scenario. Law enforcement arrive at a crime scene. However, part of this crime scene includes digital devices, media, and other things. So it's going to be your desktop computers, your laptops, your cameras, etc., right? So a few questions are going to be proposed here. So how should they collect this, right? What are the procedures? How do they transfer it? And then how do they analyze it? So as soon as the employee is suspected in the figure above, we can quickly see the digital devices that might be of interest to an investigation. We notice the tablet, a smartphone, digital camera. All these things would be great for an investigation. So, more formally, this is the application of computer science to investigate digital evidence for a legal purpose. So it uses two types. So we're going to have the public sector. So this can be your government, your law enforcement agencies, and your private sectors. So this is going to be the corporate bodies being assigned. They're going to come in house, or maybe they're outsourced to see if there's any corporate policy violations, or if they're triggered by it, rather. And so, whether they're investigating it, part of the evidence is related to digital devices and digital media. This is where forensics come into play. Tries to establish what has happened. Without these investigators, wouldn't be possible to process any digital evidence properly. So, consider the desk in the photo above. In addition to a smartphone, camera, and SD cards, what would be interested for digital forensics? So, not the smartphone. We have the camera, SD cards, probably the computer, right? Can I do laptop? Sweet. So the process, right? So the way this works is you first want to get the evidence. You collect as much as you can, right? You want to collect usually the volatile stuff, so things are going to go away quickly, and then you get your more non-volatile stuff like your files on a system. Then you're going to establish a chain of custody. You're going to fill out a form saying, this is an example form here. See if I can pull this up. So, but you pull up this form, so you can move this over. So, here is the form here. Looks like, so, the case number, the offense, some of the evidences. So you can say, hey, one computer or one laptop, whatever. And then you're going to say the item, the time, this was who it was released by, this is who received by, XYZ. So that way you keep track of it. And then you give this to your law enforcement, and they go from there. So place the evidence in a secure container. You don't want these devices damaged. You don't want any evidence damaged. So make sure nothing gets wiped. Maybe something like a Faraday cage where it's not getting connections outbound, or be able to get those connections. Transport the evidence to your digital forensics lab, right? So some type of sandbox environment. Then retrieve the evidence, create a forensic copy. So this is important. So you maybe do like a external hard drive that prevents it being overwritten. So you plug that up, and then you go and do your copying over. Turn the digital evidence to a secure container once you're done. And then if you damage a copy, you could always create the new one, right? Because you have your copy, the one that you just made from the forensic copy. And then you start processing it, seeing what was done. So this has been adapted from this Guided Computer Forensics Investigation 6th edition. So there's also some further things that the director of the Defense Computer Forensics Laboratory, Ken Zatko, Digital Forensics include. So proper search authority, right? You have to have the authority to do it. Make sure you have the chain of custody. Validation with mathematics. So some special kind of mathematical function called hash. Confirm that a file has not been modified. So this is saying maybe when we pull this stuff over, we're going to give it a hash of it. So if we pull the ifconfig file, we're going to create a file of it, give it a hash. If we transfer it over, if it starts being like something completely different, well, that's kind of weird. Your validated tools, so maybe you can't use command line, maybe you can't use autopsy, maybe you have to use something else. Repeatability, can you be able to reproduce this as long as the skills and tools are available? And reporting, right? You had to make sure that you're reporting what was found and what was going on. So essential to keep track of who's handling what is the name of the document. chain of custody. And so a practice example. So everything we do on digital devices, from smartphones, computers, leave traces. So let's see if we can use this in a subsequent investigation. So Cat Gato has been kidnapped. Oh no. The kidnapper has sent us a document with a request in Word document format. Convert the document PDF, extract the image from MS Word file for your convenience. So we download the file, and follow along, open the terminal text box, then go to directory, and it'll look like this. When you create a text file, some metadata gets saved by the operating system, such as file creation date and specification time, but some information gets kept within the file's metadata. So you can use a much more advanced editor like Microsoft Word. So here, looking like there's Word for Microsoft text, documents for Microsoft Word, maybe a PDF, you have some other PDF writer, right? Maybe like Adobe. So here we can see what we can learn from the PDF. So they did PDF info document.pdf. So let's see if we can try that. So PDF info and ransom letter.pdf. Okay, looks like I don't have it installed. We can try downloading real quick. Yep. So it looks like they're using sudo apt install proper utils. We can also run this and make sure that we're getting the right thing. So we'll wait for all that to go through. But anyways, they ran the PDF info. We can see that a creator was Microsoft Word. We see the creation date, the modification date tag, user properties, all this information. If it's encrypted, how many pages, what's the page size, what's the file size. So a lot of information. So using PDF info, find out the author to the attached file. So let's see. So it looks like this one's almost done. So while that's going on, we'll keep looking. So there's also the EXIF tool. So another tool we'll probably have to install. So I'll go ahead and grab that. And then we'll throw that in a new tab here, paste that. So that way we can get this going. I think it's actually, yeah, it started this one over. So what was the tool for the other one? PDF info. So I should be able to do PDF info now with the ransom letter.pdf. Okay, cool. So we got the title here, pay now, subject, we have Gato. The author here is Anne Green Shepherd. So maybe we could use this for investigation and say, who is Anne Green Shepherd? You know, is this someone that is known to do this? Is this a known culprit? Is this someone that maybe maybe they're known for this type of attack already? So sure we're good to go. Sweet. Okay, close these guys out. So now we're going to be using EXIF data. So this is how we're going to look at the exchangeable image file format for your metadata of your image file. So this is going to be for your camera phones, like your model, your smartphone model, date, time, some photo settings as well. So there's a lot of online, offline tools, but EXIF tool is used to read or write metadata in various file types. So here we can see our text box already has EXIF tool installed, but if you're using Calix and you don't have it, you already ran it. So EXIF tool and the image. So ls EXIF tool letter image JPEG. We see a ton of information here, right? So scroll all the way up. So we see the version, the file name, directory, all that stuff. The type, the version, some byte orders. Looks like the camera, use the Canon camera, right? So a lot of information. So let's see, if you take the above coordinates, search one of the online maps, Bing for this, reveals street where the photo is taken. So where was that at? Trying to see where they got the the location. Okay. Okay, here we go. So latitude, longitude. So we could take, we can try this. So we can paste this in. Okay. Maybe just do a Google search. So earthtools.com. Let's see, maybe it does it. I don't think it's. I'm trying to see. Makes a lot. Maybe Microsoft Bing Maps. Maybe that will be better. Couldn't find it. Oh, we had to replace degree with the degree. Okay. Oh, I didn't read the rest of it. You know, it probably helps if I read the rest of it versus just spamming it. So it looks like we found it. So we found some Russia Row, England, United Kingdom. You know, so we can say, okay, maybe he's in this area depending on the time. Maybe look at some cameras there, right? So using X for Unito, try to take the image attached. What is the name of the street? Russia Row. So that doesn't look like it wants it that way though. Oh, Milk Street. Sorry, I was looking at the name of it, not the actual street. And then what is the model name of the camera used to take this photo? So we can do this. And we can do grep for. I wonder if we can do model. Okay, so it looks like we have a Canon EOS R6, and we got it. So sweet. So let's go ahead. We can terminate this machine over here. Oh, it wasn't a machine. It was just us looking at files. That's right. So this one, I think it does. Oh, so it's just a site. Never mind. Okay. So introduction to security operations. So the SOC, again, this is a team of your IT security professionals tasked with monitoring a company's network and system 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the purpose is to find vulnerabilities, detect unauthorized activity, discover policy violations, detect intrusions, and support with the incident response team. So, what does SOC stand for? Security Operations Center. And then how many hours a day? 24. So your elements of security operations, we're going to have example data sources that SOC relies on, services that provide an example scenario. So SOC uses many data sources to monitor a network for signs. So some of these are going to be your server logs, right? So maybe if there's a mail server or something, maybe we'll give you feedback of something that an email is trying to come in from an external entity or external organization, DNS activity. So maybe if you're looking for like queries, right, for DNS, maybe saying how can it reach try hack me from an external IP or something. Maybe that's kind of weird. Or maybe you can see who's browsed try hack me through the DNS. You can see some information about the people coming into the site, your firewall logs, who's getting allowed and who's getting blocked, both, and DHCP logs, who's actually getting IPs assigned. Is this the right MAC address? Is this who we should be allowing IPs to get? Should we allow this device to be getting IPs and things of that nature? So there's more common data sources. Some of these are be used in a network security monitoring. Other it has a SOC. So this might be a SIEM, right? This is going to aggregate all the data from the different sources to one big system for you to be able to view and respond to. So some of the services can be reactive and proactive, right? So the reactive may be monitoring security posture. So if we see that maybe the CPU utilization starts increasing from our normal baseline, okay, we probably want to take a look at that. Vulnerability management, we can look at the patching and the fixing of maybe some of the vulnerabilities. We may not be able to actually execute it, but we can assist with it and say, hey, we think this should be done. malware analysis. We're going to be doing that analysis to make sure it's in a controlled environment to say, hey, let's see what this actually did to the systems. Intrusion detection, to detect and see if there's anything weird or suspicious happening on the network. And reporting, of course, we're going to report those, raise alarms, notify the proper entities that, hey, we found an intrusion. Some proactive, we're going to do some network security monitoring. So this is how we're going to focus on network data, analyze the traffic to detect signs of intrusions, do threat hunting. So we assume that intrusion already taken place. We're going to make sure and see if that's actually true or not. And then we're going to use our threat intelligence to make sure that if we are hearing that a bad guy wants to attack us tomorrow evening at 3 p.m., hey, maybe we make sure that we're good to go and protected for whatever attempts they might try to make. We're also going to do cybersecurity training to make sure our users also understand what to look out for. So here's an example. One role in SOC is SOC analyst, responsible for the network security monitoring, log management. So while they're monitoring it, they notice a particular DNS query repeating every minute. It's not the behavior that of a user browsing the internet, and precisely every 1 minute is kind of weird. So they check the source, identifies the cause as one laptop on the network. So they isolate it, they look for some signs of infection, and they discover a process or program using DNS to communicate with some malicious server. So they found this computer was infected, and then after that, they began communicating with the malicious server behind the messages and DNS queries. So once the laptop is clean, threat hunting starts to ensure that no other computers are infected. So NSM, this is Network Security Monitoring, if I can type. Practical example of a SOC. So we use a firewall SOC an ongoing attack in this task. Again, we already know what a firewall is, right? It's going to have a source destination IP, source destination port, and then the action, right? So the above two rules dictate the following. So all IPs from source of this to this on any port, or from any source to destination port 80 are going to be allowed. But any source from this to this guy on any port, or any source port to port 23 are going to be dropped. So we're going to start the simulation. So we see that if it's being targeted to our guy here by 192.500, looks like they're trying to attack by some weird stuff. I don't remember what the port was, but we can see that we blocked it here at the router, and it's no longer being denied. So sweet. Really easy, simple. And then that was it. I think that was it. Yep, sweet. So we got another certificate. We can add our full name here. I'm just going to use the username. So there we go. We completed another path. We are cruising right along. 7 hours, 40 minutes what it says, but I think that's also because of some of these. So I'm not sure why it says it took me 7 hours to do that, but oh well. Oh, maybe it might be adding up the hours for this. So yeah, like this is 90 minutes, but it did not take us 90 minutes to do it. So sweet. So we can go back here. We can look at our learning roadmap. So we've done the pre-security. Looks like maybe the next one we're going to be looking at is Cybersecurity 101. So we can pull this guy up. But as you see, we've done Introduction to Cybersecurity. We've done the pre-security and the complete beginner. So all the foundations, we've already almost finished everything. And again, we can see that we have almost about halfway done. There's a lot of modules in this section for Cybersecurity 101. But the good news is once we're done with that, we can start going to and swapping over to our next areas. So maybe if we want to do web fundamentals here, we've already seen it before, but we've already knocked out a good majority of how the web works. We might see some introduction to web hacking things here, right? We may do some more of the Burp Suite tools, but overall we've already completed a lot already for this. And then if we were looking back, cyber defense, this guy's already almost completed as well. Just learning more about some network services, learning about Wireshark, so some other tools. So once I go back through and check it all out. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed it, learning some new things. The next one we will do cybersecurity 101. This is a relatively shorter video, so nothing too crazy. But we can definitely, we want to see. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Yeah, I don't think it's anything too bad. But we can go and we can look through these, and I can make sure that all the ones that we are going to be doing for this are ones that we have not done already. So, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day, and